Hi, I wanted to talk through the Culminating project for Going Google. You can see on my screen I have the Culminating project template, and this template will walk you through the process of preparing for and planning for the Culminating project. These are all the components you're going to have in your project at the very end. As we're progressing through the course, you can work on these as often as you want to, as much as you want to. I have some milestones built in. So in Module 1, for instance, you should complete Section 1, the yellow section. You can complete the rest of it as you wish. If you want to keep working on that in Module 1, you absolutely can. You can also wait, and I'll have a designated spot for you to work on that in modules following number 1. But I wanted to build it out so that it's easy for you to plan out what you are interested in working on and how you're going to incorporate the skills that you've learned as a result of this course into the work that you do. Aside from that, the guidelines for this project are pretty open. I want you to create something that's going to be useful in your work, and hopefully something that's going to be useful in your work for the rest of this school year. If you're taking this course later on in the year, it's completely understandable if you're going to make something that fits in better next year or at the beginning of the following year. But try to make something that is going to be useful sooner rather than later so that you can practice your skills and keep working on what you've learned and hopefully help make it part of your practice. So you'll notice as you're going through the template, the ISTE standard is linked, and for most of you, you're going to choose the ISTE standards for students. If you are a classroom teacher and you work primarily with students, please focus on the ISTE standards for students. I've linked it to all of the ISTE standards because I know oftentimes we have coaches or we have administrators, and there's ISTE standards for all of those people. So I wanted to ensure that everyone can access the standards that they're looking for, but if you are a classroom teacher, your focus should be the ISTE standards for students. When we mention the content area, it doesn't have to be a specific content area. If you have something more general that you want your students to focus on, that's fine. But if you know that you want them to focus on something from your math class or from your social studies class, you can add that too. The final part, the last gray part, is where you're going to link to the artifact. So as a part of this culminating project, you're going to make something. So whether it's a slide deck or it's a Google drawing or it's another site, something like that, you're going to link that at the last part. So please ensure that that's in your Going Google folder and it's shared so that I can access it when I try to click into it. The only other thing that needs to be really linked in here is the public link to your portfolio. We talked about that in the last video where we went through the process of publishing it and generating a public link so that people can look at your website. That link is what's going to go in here so that I can make sure that I see all the work that you've done during this class. The next part of the culminating project is the rubric. So you can see here's the rubric. This is how your culminating project is going to get scored, and it's basically a holistic rubric that's taken out of that template that we just looked at. So if you go through the template and complete each of those things, you should be fine on this rubric. I want to make sure that you have this so that as you're doing your work, you have the rubric, you know what the expectations are, and it's not a surprise when you get to the end. When you make a copy of this and put it on your culminating project portfolio page, please ensure that you put your name here. So there's a little spot for your name, and this is where the scoring parts are going to go. So it's pretty straightforward. Hopefully you don't have too many questions with this. I tried to make it as clear as possible. As we progress through the different modules, you'll see where each of these parts come into it. But as I said, you can work on this as early as you want to, or you can wait and do it all right before Module 5. Module 5 is where you're going to be doing some reflection and some sharing of your project. So please ensure that it's all ready to go when you're working on Module 5. I hope that this project gives you an opportunity to incorporate all of the things that you learned during this course, as well as solving a problem or addressing a need that you have in your work.